topic for today is about disassembling and assembling of the computer. I'm Virgilio Apos Jr. I will show you how to assemble a computer first. Before we assemble, we're going to ready all parts of the computer. First and foremost, we have already know the basic parts of the computer and how it works. So we're going to discuss the parts of the computer first. This is a casing or a system case in the computer. Next, second, power supply. Third, motherboard. Number 4, it's a Intel processor or a CPU. Next, memory. Next, a hard disk drive. And this one is the power cord. Before we proceed, we have to use necessary tools for our assembling purpose. We have to use masking tape, scissors, blade cutter, star screw, and this one is the stand-off screw. Let's begin. Opening of the system case, we have to use a cutter, this is the casing looks like. We have a side panel, what we call this one is a front panel, and last is about a back panel of the casing. So we're going to unscrew first the side panel. Going to push like this one. Going to unlock the peripheral screws of the computer case. In the front panel case, we can see there's a power button, reset button, USB port, and audio port. So there's a front panel cable we're going to attach into the motherboard, so it functions the front panel. I'm going to show you how to assemble neat and clean assembling. After that, this little gold plated thing, this is called stand-up screw. So this one is a plastic stand-off screw. Question: what is the purpose of the stand-off? The purpose of the stand-off is to prevent the ground of the casing into the motherboard. So that's why we need this stand-off into the assembling area. There's a 4 gold-plated stand-off already, and there's a 2 plastic stand-off. We're going to use this plastic stand-off into the motherboard directly. So we will cut this first, and we will install it into the motherboard directly. We have to use a masking tape like this one, going to cover the stand off. So the use of the masking tape, basic anti-grounding of the motherboard. We're going to hold this one for the purpose of the screw of the motherboard. Okay. This motherboard, Gigabyte brand, is a cable, back panel or input and output panel. This one is the motherboard. This is the manual of the motherboard and the installer of the motherboard. It's very important. In installing the motherboard, you have to use anti-static rest or anti-static mat. If you have no such things, you have to carefully place the motherboard like this one. This motherboard is a Intel support motherboard of the socket 1151 and DDR4 support the memory. First, you have to unlock the processor opening like this one, and unlock the cover. So prepare the processor. Processor we're going to use is Intel Core i5 processor, and it's a 9th generation. This is i5, that's 9400. Inside the processors, there's a manual, sticker, a CPU fan, and processor itself. So what's the purpose of the CPU? It's the brain of the computer. Proper installations of the processor, you have to check the triangle gold plated in the processor and the motherboard. So there's a triangle indicator in the motherboard. That was the proper placement. In the opening, you have to align first, then check and grab. So put like this one. No hassle. You have to close first, then lock. Next is the CPU fan. Installing the processor fan, you have to unlock first the arrow sign, the CPU fan, then properly check the wire. You have to check first the CPU fan socket like this one. Like this. Okay. I'm going to twist this CPU can here directly click, so it will automatically lock the CPU fan through the motherboard. And then going to use Kinmax RGB DDR4 gaming memory or RAM. So the meaning of RAM is wide access memory. So it has a capacity of 8 gig DDR4. Okay. And this is the memory. This is a DDR4 3200 capacity of the memory, so it's frequency based the memory. So you can check the manual capacity of each memory you are going to use. Installing the memory, you have to unlock side by side of the memory socket, and this one is the DDR4 memory slot number 1 and DDR4 memory slot number 2. So if you install the memory, there's a separator like this one. So what you call this one is a notch. So this to separate their pins of the memory. So we'll install the memory. So we're going to check the notch or the separator. So if not fit, you have to reverse it like this one. And so you have to push each side of the memory to automatically lock. The motherboard, then the processor, then the memory is already been installed. You're going to install the back plate or the back panel of the motherboard to the PC like this one. Going to push this one. So after that, ready to install the motherboard. Before I forgot, the plastic stand off that I already cut. Here. We're going to put into the end of the motherboard to make it stand. We're going to proper handle of the motherboard. You have to use the CPU fan like this one. Proper installations like this. So there's three kinds of a different screw we're going to use. Like this one, it's a small rounded screw. So this we're going to use to lock the motherboard. This kind of a screw, it's be grounded. This is for the use of hard drives lock, and this one it's going to use to lock the side panel or the power supply. First, the motherboard screw first. It's done. I'm going to install the power supply. This power supply, already upgrade the power supply because the power consumptions of the processor needs to be higher wattage. This is a Boston 750 watts, so it's already basic or compatible to our processor power consumption. You install no power supply that's not compatible to your devices such processor, so there is such trouble you're going to encounter, like no display, because you cannot power, you cannot supply the processor power itself. This is how you're going to install the power supply. There's for lock the power supply is going to show you. Power supply cables is indicated to different parts of the computer. So this one is a 24 pin power supply connector, so it's supplied to the motherboard. This one is a 6 pin connector, so it's uses to power up the GPU or the video card. This one is for a 4-pin connector, so it supplies to the processor. And this platted or as a SATA power connector, so it will supply the storage drive or hard disk drive. This connector is what we call IDE connector. So in the old computer, it also supplied into the storage like IDE hard drives, but now this IDE connector it will supply to our system fan only if we're going to put additional system fan in our computer system. I'll show you how to proper install or arrange the power supply connector so that it will not damage our CPU fan in this area, and you have to install neat and clean also. You have to check the lock here to the motherboard. And put into the PTX 12 volts connector for the CPU socket, CPU power socket. So, all the wirings we're going to put into the side of the casing, so that it will not interrupt the rotation of the fan. It's very important. Next, we're going to install hard disk drive. It has a brand of Eastern Digital, and it has a capacity 1 TB or 1 terabytes or 1000 gigabytes. This time we're going to use this indicated screw. You have to prepare the SATA cable first. We're going to install the SATA cable. Like this one, I've already twisted so it will look nicely. If there is one hard disk in your assembling, you can put into any ports, the SATA cable ports, if one hard disk only. But if you have two hard drives, you have to specific put into the SATA 1 port. Okay, this is the master, and the second port for slave for your data purposes. The SATA type or SATA power cable going to install. Tips installing this one: you have to check the color of the cable. So this yellow color coding, it's a 12 volts capacity of the power. So you will put like this one into the hard drive, like this. Next, the front panel cable. So the front panel cable, there's an audio connector, USB connector, and power reset button, and there's a lead and power indicator. This one, the audio connector, and USB connector.
Sarap na ang kabuhay dyan eh. Sadok-sadok niya. Ang mga pagkarang-karang magdula.
So we already done the assembling our computer. So this is the final product. This one, we're going to close the side panel.